Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth with Eden and Kim, shifting you into higher consciousness, the show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, special interviews with inspiring guests, intuitive readings, channeled messages from beyond, including celebrities, hot topics to expand your awareness, and time for questions from the audience. Tune in for unprecedented truth, authenticity, on-purpose discussions, and magical moments.
Well, I want to say that I saw your recent article in the Scoop LA, which is Buddy's newspaper, been around since the 60s, and I am one of the writers of the Scoop LA. I'm honored to have written for many years for that newspaper and have worked with Buddy in many ways since then. And your article was great, and I grew up watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I'm a big fan, so I feel very honored to be here with you, Daphne.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So how did you get started in acting?
Oh, it was a fluke. It was just a progression of being in the right place at the right time and being prepared. I was acting in high school, off-Broadway, and in a group called the Group Theater Workshop that bloomed into the Negro Ensemble Company after I left and went to college. But I had learned some skills there. I had not set out to be an actress. I didn't see any examples of somebody making a living doing that if they were Black women. So I never considered it. So I went to college to be a teacher and realized I didn't want to do that either. So I studied interior design and architecture and started modeling. I was discovered from an article that 17 magazine did on real girls who had accomplished something. They had the large format magazine in the 60s, and I was featured on a full page of that because I had gotten a National Merit Scholarship to Northwestern. And that was my first modeling gig. And Eileen Ford, who was the leading model agent in New York at the time, saw the picture and asked me to register with her. I didn't think much about it. I said, okay, yeah, why not? I'm at school in Chicago, lady, do you know? But didn't matter because at that time I could fly between New York and Chicago on United Airlines round trip for $25.
Oh my gosh.
So student fare, they had a student fare and that was it. So I was flying back and forth between New York and Chicago and had quite a prolific editorial modeling career. I am not a model. I'm not a high fashion girl. I have freckles, and they consider those to be blemishes. So I didn't do any makeup or anything fancy like that. But I did a lot of editorial stuff, fashion and hair stuff. And all of a sudden, I did one little call to New York, sit on the window, just put this red turtleneck on and this jacket and pull your hair over to the side, put on a little lip gloss and some mascara. Just sit there on the window. Guy came in. I don't think he shot a whole roll of film. And I was back to school again. And a couple of months later, I walked by the newsstand and I saw my face on the cover of Glamour magazine from that day. All being in the right place at the right time. It was my time. I have the blessings. I accept the blessings. I honor the blessings. But I continued to model in Chicago after I graduated. And while doing commercials and other modeling stuff in Chicago, this guy came to town to shoot a television series. Now, this is a long answer. I'm sorry, buddy. This is a long answer to get.
Oh, it's interesting. So keep going.
So it was Robert Conrad. And if anybody knows Robert Conrad from the original Wild Wild West.
Yes.
And you can't knock this battery off my shoulder. Big tough guy. He cast me in a series that he was doing in Chicago called The Duke. Mm-hmm. And we became buddies. For some reason, he had some connection to Northwestern University, and I never did find out what connection he had. But he used to call me Queenie because I had been Northwestern's first Black homecoming queen.
Mm-hmm.
And he hand wrote me into the script. So it wasn't like, okay, she's auditioned and gotten this job. It was, she's auditioned and he likes her and he's putting her in this show. So that was my first series. And then after a couple of years, I went to Los Angeles. And of course, I looked up Robert Conrad when I got there. And I said, well, I've just jumped into the big pond here. What's going on? And he says, oh, good, you're in town. I have this part for you on this show I'm shooting called A Man Called Sloan. I said, okay. And I got an agent right away. And then my career happened.
Wow.
Okay.
So how did that lead up to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Oh, it was 30 years before it got to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was in the 90s. And I had done a lot of series television before that. Guest starred on WKRP in Cincinnati with my soon-to-be husband, Tim Reed. And after that, Simon and Simon, and then Frank's Place. And then we did a show called Snoops. Then we did a talk show in Baltimore, 76 episodes of a talk show called The Tim and Daphne Show. And then we were pooped, and we were going to move to Virginia. And they asked me to audition for a little sitcom they were getting ready to do that starred a rap artist. I said, no. No, thank you. I'm going east. I'm taking a break. Well, I saw that show when it came on later that fall, and it was such a cute show. So, as the blessings would flow, 3 years later, I got a call from my agent. We have an audition for you for Aunt Vivian in The Fresh Prince. And I said, before I hung up the phone, I got on a plane. I mean, I'm coming. So I spent a couple of weeks in LA auditioning. And by about the third audition, I got to work with James Avery in the audition. And I guess our chemistry, I just hit it off with the guy. I love the guy. And our chemistry, I guess, worked because they selected me to play the part. And
what happened to the original Aunt Viv?
I haven't a clue.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
I never knew. I asked once, and they said, we won't talk about it. I said, thank you very much. I won't either.
It was because it was meant for you.
It seems like it was from the beginning.
Yeah.
No, she did a very good job of the first 3 years, but she was a totally different character than I was.
Yeah. Yeah. He
She
just
was.
wanted you in the beginning, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think he did, but I had to fight my way to get that part. I had to fight 200 other women to get that part
wow.
the second time around. So
Okay.
it was just general casting.
And you were in the right place at the right time, evidently,
Right place.
because
And prepared.
for you. I wanted to ask you. You recently did the reunion show. Like, since we did the interview last, you did the reunion show, and it was a fantastic show, by the way.
It was a fantastic event. It was the gem of 2020 for me.
Yeah.
I thought, what was it like doing the reunion with all your cast members that you had such a camaraderie with?
Well, we've all been in touch over the years, but it was the first time we were going to all be in the same place at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a surprise for us as well, because when they emailed us and asked, did we want to participate? Like, I'm going to say no. They said, okay, don't say anything to anybody. This is what's going to happen. We're flying you to Los Angeles. We're putting each of you in a separate hotel so that you don't reunionize before we get on set. And then they treated us like kings and queens. It was just amazing. And we got on set. They have so many protocols now for shooting, so we were totally engrossed in the protocols of the COVID. and we were all tested and quarantined and all that stuff. And the set was, everybody was masked and shielded, and there was places they couldn't be when we were unmasked. It was all very rigidly controlled. But as soon as we got to set, it was an actual family reunion. We were so excited about seeing everybody.
And it showed on camera, too. I mean, it was just a very touching reunion.
Very special.
So I heard rumors. Kim, I think, heard the rumor as well. Is there going to be a reboot?
There is a sort of reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it is a dramatic version. And it is something that Will is producing with a young creator that he found, who did just like a spec strip of Fresh Prince as a drama. So I can't wait to see it. It got picked up, I guess. They're doing it for the Peacock Network.
Okay. I know that show was pretty much like a drama already. It was pretty dramatic.
We laughed a lot. We told stories, but we laughed a lot. We couched all that dramatic stuff in humor.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, you first.
Go ahead.
You have a cookbook that's out now called...
I do.
Tell us about the cookbook and what inspired that cookbook.
Well, it's a mini memoir. And it has stories of me growing up in New York. And this book is really to honor my mother, who you see there. And it really is just a journey through my life and my relationship to food. Because my mother was a great cook. I mean, she wasn't a chef or anything, but she cooked with love. And when we all sat down at the table to eat, it was like having communion. And I consider serving a meal and eating it in a group at a table communion. So I'm trying to encourage people to start traditions of communion at their own home and to get back to cooking again, because this eating out stuff got curtailed by COVID, but also it's, come on. Cook. And if you can't cook, I teach you how. So it's a book full of instructions, and the title is Grace, Soul, and Mother Wit. And grace is what you say when you sit down to the table, but it's also the way I hopefully have lived my life, with grace. Soul is just an honor my community of soulful folk. And Mother Wit is just common sense. So there's a lot of that in here too. And fun recipes from people that I've worked with, people that I've journeyed with, and lots of home remedies from mom and cousins and things I grew up loving. And I teach it to you as a basic, like Thanksgiving turkey. I'd start off by telling you just reach into the butt and pull all the stuff out. Very common sense kinds of things before you get started to cook this turkey. And I just take you step by step through a lot of different things. So it's a fun book and a mini memoir.
What is it? What kind of home remedies does it have?
What kind of which?
Home remedies does it have?
Oh, it has, for a upset stomach, basil tea. You just take the dried basil and make a poultice out of it, wrap it in a little piece of cheesecloth, and steep it like you would tea and put a little honey in it, and it'll settle the stomach, even a baby's stomach when they have a little bit of indigestion. Wow. And things like morning hangover stuff.
I need that recipe right away.
Did your kids grow up with you using these different, like they were the examples that you could use these on?
Yeah. Oh, they still do. And now they're passing it on to their children. They're smart.
How many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3. I have a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Oh, and are you close by to them?
They're in LA and Texas. I'm in Virginia.
So lots of traveling.
Yes. But I can't catch them. They're always traveling as well.
Yeah, you got to make the most of the time, right? So you are gifted at so many things. After hearing that bio, I'm like, what doesn't she do? How do you find balance or time for self-care?
I start with self-care. I get up in the morning and I go to bed at night with self-care. And I spend the day paying attention to what's going into my body and how the world is affecting my body. And I take good care of myself and my husband. And that's just a basic. And self-mental care is a lot of peaceful meditation and getting up in the morning with a purpose and ending the day, planning another day.
I love that.
Yeah.
So do you journal?
No, at times I journal. When I'm really stuck or I'm having a crisis of communication with somebody, I will journal. But I don't think I've ever gone back and read what I've written in my journals. I think I just get it out.
Yeah,
I think that's the point. Yeah.
Right.
You got to get that out.
Yeah, I've been noticing I have a new routine where I journal right when I wake up and I journal right before I go to bed. And I've just noticed shifts. Like I just noticed I'm calmer, I'm more excited and inspired. Like it's really making a difference. But I went for years without really journaling at all. So this is a new thing for me. So yeah.
I did it years ago and I do it less now than ever. I've gotten to the point where I just say what I feel. I've gotten to the point, you get to a certain age and you just say the truth.
Right.
And so if someone's listening, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. If not, okay.
You can listen to yourself.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yep.
Yes. So where can we find you? Where can the audience find you if they want to look up the cookbook?
Oh, you can find everything that I'm doing on DaphneMaxwellReid.com. You see that name on the screen there? Daphne Maxwell Reid. It's just a simple .com. Just spell it right and you'll get there. I make masks and I do note cards and I do books on photography and I do prints. This one is something new that I'm attempting. This one I had printed on canvas and I'm going to hand paint on top of this one. So I try new stuff every once in a while.
Oh, you have many outlets.
Are your books in your cookbook, are your photography from you?
Everything that I publish is photography from me.
Wow.
There are some pictures in the cookbook that my father took because I chose pictures of me growing up and stuff like that. But everything else, all the covers, I do all the layout. I do all the mock-up. I send a file to the printer. And I publish them myself. So.
Do you sell your paintings?
Yes, I do. And they're photographs. They're really not paintings.
Oh, that's a photograph back there.
Vivid.
Okay. Yes.
And I only take pictures of doors.
Oh, of doors.
Ooh, what does that mean?
I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Mysterious.
I studied interior design and architecture at Northwestern, and I am drawn to architectural features. So I found myself taking pictures of doors and windows. And eventually, once I started publishing these books of doors, it dawned on me that doors are a metaphor for life. And in sharing my doors with people, I try to encourage them to notice the details on their journeys, because that's where all the richness lies in getting from A to B. It's in the details of the journey. So start focusing on details, and you can start with doors. And mine are all from international cities. I don't do anything domestic.
Interesting. What kind of equipment are you using to shoot? Are you using your cell phone or using professional photography equipment?
I have a Sony camera. I don't use lighting. I let God light it. I take one shot of each door, and that's it.
Oh, I love your philosophy.
I know. Learning so much from you already.
Yes, lots of wisdom.
Thank you.
Well, and I love the detail in life, and I find that I really work on, like, if I'm going to go for a walk or if I'm traveling, then I try to, as much as I can, say, you know, what am I noticing I can see? What am I noticing I can hear? What can I smell? What can I touch? And it really gets you in that place of being present. And like you said, finding the gifts, finding the richness. I just feel that we have to train our mind to do that, because otherwise everything ends up a blur. And at the end of the day, you go, what did I even do today?
Right. And what's the point of traveling if you're not absorbing something new, some culture that you haven't been exposed to, some smell, some taste? It all makes your life very rich.
Right. It's interesting because we got stuck in real bad traffic coming home from a trip recently, and the sunset was probably the best I've ever seen in my life. And I said, now I know why it took 3 extra hours. I got to see this.
Yes.
The sunset is still in my head. Like, I mean, It was such a gift. And so there's always, we can always find the gifts if we look for the details.
You can. Yep.
Wow. Learning a lot.
Are you on social media? Can people write to you, or they can write to you through your website, or?
Both, all. I'm on Facebook, Daphne Reid. I'm on Instagram at Ms. Daphne 13, and that's MS Daphne 13. And also Daphne M. Reid on Instagram, and also Daphne Cooks on Instagram. So I've got 3 Instagram pages, and I'm on LinkedIn and all those wonderful little things that you guys have devised to keep you busy.
That's a lot. Do you have someone managing that for you? Most people do. Yeah, you do it.
You? How do you manage to do that? With
You'll see, I don't do a whole lot of posts. That's how I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a naughty girl. Sometimes I do a lot, sometimes I don't. So it's seasonal for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up this episode, but all of our audience, stay tuned, because we're gonna go into next week, part 2 with Daphne. So let us know how you enjoyed this. We'd love to hear your feedback. We often get feedback from Africa, India, Japan, let alone the US. So it's really, really exciting to hear so many perspectives from our show. So thank you all for listening, and we'll see you in part 2.
For more information on Eden, go to edensustin.com. For more information on Kim, go to kimlifecoach.com. Make sure to follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Talk Purpose and Truth Podcast. If you loved this episode, you'll love every episode. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Thank you for listening.